Let's go.
It's Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim, Chet, Chesko. Chet, the Phillies full squad is in camp with the first game Friday. Waste no time with that. The NBA All-Star Weekend came and went. You're one of maybe three people that I know that actually watch that. I'm sure you'll tell us something about it because no one else knows anything about it. The Olympics, man, hockey today. What a big day as the U.S. and Canada continue on their collision course for gold medals. And Eagles free agent talk is heating up. As usual, we have plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Yeah, a bit quieter than usual on the Philly sports scene, thanks in part to those Olympics. But it is nice to have Phillies baseball to talk about once again. Lots of news coming out of there. Not all of it great. We're still wondering, is Bryce pissed off? I don't know. We'll talk about it. And by the way, the NBA All-Star Game with the move to NBC brought in nearly 9 million viewers, a 15-year high. I'm just saying, we'll talk hoops later, Bill.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it because I didn't watch 1 second. I know that surprises you.
Yeah,
and I'll probably not go into again. But hey, we have a great guest returning tonight in NJ.com's Bob Brookover to talk Phillies and Eagles.
Yeah, that we do. Bob has spent a lot of years covering both the Phillies and Eagles, so we look forward to having him join us once again to discuss the Phils and the Birds. He's here. He's ready to go. Let's do this, Bill.
We're going to do it, but I'm going to lead into this with knowing that Brookie really wants to be at Delco's sometime in Dunedin in the next couple of weeks because he's a household name over there. Let's get to it and welcome Bob Brookover back to Philly Pressbox Radio. Brookie, welcome.
Hey, welcome. I mean, hi, Bill. I was just thinking about what you said. Delco's. I love Delco's. I usually just got the cheesesteak right at the ballpark. Cook it right there. But we also had a great deal where the owners they had season tickets to the Lightning, and they used to give me and Jim Salisbury. They let us pick a game we wanted to go to, and the Lightning put on a great show. I miss going down there. Jim and I would have our 2 giant beers and we'd go watch the game, and they had great seats right behind the Lightning bench. And it was fun. I missed that.
Awesome. Hey, Bob, we had promoted you as Eagles beat reporter for NJ.com, but you do a little bit of everything. You cover the Eagles, you do some Phillies coverage, even the New York Football Giants. The other day, though, you posted a story about an interview you did with Phillies legend Larry Bowa, which was great. As you noted, Larry turned 80 years old recently, and he's still going down to Clearwater, and not just to, hang out and shake hands. He's still working, still teaching. What motivates Larry Bowa?
He's a baseball junkie.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, there were so many things I wish I could have got into that story. Would have probably been 50,000 words. It would have been a book rather than a website story. But he talked about so many different things, including the team. How he goes home at night during the season, watches the game. I was really interested because I didn't even know this because I had been away from the team. That 2 years ago, Bobby Dickerson, when he came back, said, "Bo, why don't you start coming to home games, get in uniform, and start hitting grounders again?" Which he always did in spring training. But when the season stopped, he kind of stopped doing that, and he's doing that again. He's just got so much energy. I kind of laughed when I was like researching the story. I didn't even realize I had done this when I was at the Inquirer. I'd written a Bowa at 70 story and a Bowa at 75 story, and I can't wait to write the Bowa at 85 story.
Yeah.
Good deal. So what does he do down there? Is he instructing, or is he just kind of helping out, or does he just do whatever?
Tyler Kepner he's at the Athletic now, New York Times, but he's a Philly guy. He covered the Yankees and then was their national baseball writer for the New York Times for a long time. But Tyler suggested the half field. You guys have been to the fields down there, right?
Yeah.
There's a half field like right outside the clubhouse, and Tyler Kepner suggested that they rename that field, or they name that field Larry Bowa, whatever, the Larry Bowa half field, because he takes guys out there before practice starts, before the morning practice starts, and he just hits fungo after fungo after fungo. I asked Bobby Dickerson, who's the actual infield instructor, said, how many fungos do you think he's hit? And he said, I couldn't even imagine the count, but Bobby was great talking about it. He said, I tried to work out with him that morning, and he said I couldn't keep up with him. Bobby's 60, so I understand. I'm 62. I couldn't keep up with him, so I know that. So yeah, he hits the fungos. He had pitched until recent year, and I think even did last year. Pitch batting practice too. It's would throw batting practice, and he said he wasn't sure he was going to do that this year. He said if he did, it would probably be the non-roster guys. He said he doesn't think he has enough velo anymore to throw to the big boys. But who knows? But he's a baseball junkie. I mean, he really is. It's funny because obviously he's not the greatest player in the franchise history. Although when I started, I probably knew all these things at one time, but when I started looking at where he ranked, how many top 10 categories he ranked in, I mean, this guy's he's a legend. And now what he's done after the game, he may be among the top 3 legendary Phillies of all time, even though he didn't have the greatest career. And you even go back and look at the shortstops that are in the Hall of Fame. There's a case for Larry Bowa to be in the Hall of Fame when you start looking at some of the other shortstops that are in there. He's never going to be in the Hall of Fame, but there's a case to be made for him, just as like there's a case for Jimmy Rollins. I think that the most interesting thing I found out about his career was when he retired, he had the top fielding percentage, highest fielding percentage among shortstops in baseball. He's now 16th, I think, 16th or 17th, I forget. So he's fallen that far, but 2 of the top 5 are Freddie Galvis and Jimmy Rollins, whose careers were certainly molded by Larry Bowa.
Freddie Galvis, how about that?
Good stuff.
Hey, let's talk about the current Phillies and the whole Bryce Harper situation. Dave Dombrowski said what he said back in October and November about the, maybe not elite anymore thing. Bryce seemed to take offense to that. He had the shirt, not elite. And now he talked about it on a podcast and with reporters the other day. He says he doesn't need that to get motivated, but could this actually work out where he is extra motivated, Bryce Harper?
Well, he said if he doesn't need it to get motivated, he has a funny way of showing it. Yeah. I would say that because if you show up, if you actually take the time to get a T-shirt made saying "not elite," yep. you're a little bit motivated by it. So yeah, I don't know. The key for Bryce Harper to be elite, I think, is his body can't betray him. He's got to hold up. He plays the game so. In such a violent manner, and that's obviously calmed down some. Going to first base helps that in terms of getting beat up in the outfield. He doesn't run the bases as much as he used to as far as trying to steal bases, which is the same for all players, even guys who are base stealers slow down as they get in their 30s. And so, but to me, for him to be elite, he has to be healthy, and he will be elite. He's got elite years left in him, but the great example of it can go away fast is I'm going to write about the World Baseball Classic later this week. I'm going to talk to Mark DeRosa tomorrow, and at the last World Baseball Classic, it ended with the classic matchup between Mike Trout and Ohtani going head to head, 2 teammates with the Angels at the time. Here we are 3 years later, and Mike Trout's not a good enough player, hasn't been, again, because of his body betraying him, but he's not good enough to be on that U.S. team. So it can go away fast, and if his body's not right, if Bryce's body's not right, it becomes a problem, especially there's 6 years left on that contract. So,
yep.
Hey, Bob, we can't get by without talking about the Nick Castellanos situation. I guess it's a good thing it's done and over with, but it sure seemed like Phillies management kind of botched this thing up right from the start to me.
Yeah, I mean, I never really covered Nick, so I only can go by the words I heard from other people. He was not the most popular guy in the clubhouse with his teammates. I think when I read Matt Gubb's story, I just think that maybe Rob should have been a little more stern than he was, and they should have been more hands-on with it immediately. They kind of let him have his way after that initial moment. But have a vote. If I had a vote, I would vote that from now on at Citizens Bank Park, every eighth inning is known as El Presidente inning, and that's where everybody gets a free Presidente. We get to stand up and salute. That's my ode to Nick Castellanos.
Let me ask you about his replacement, the new guy, Adolis Garcia. We saw pictures of him the other day. He's in even better shape than I am, Bob, if you can believe that. Look at this guy. Look at those muscles.
Not by much.
No, not by much. What should we expect from the new right fielder, Garcia?
The last right fielder I remember who looked like that and came to play for the Phillies was Ron Gant. And Ron Gant was put together and a great guy. He wasn't a great player for the Phillies. He was an okay player. I would say he's okay, just okay. And they're going to want Garcia to be more than okay this year. They're going to want him to return to his form from a few years ago when he was a playoff hero. That's what they need from him. Obviously, they think, and they're right about this, that they're going to get better defensive play from him out there. But to me, he's not the guy that they need they need him to be good, but the guy they really need to be good is Crawford in center field. I think they need him to really come up and just play kind of the same way he did in Triple. They don't need him to hit the home runs, but they need him to steal the bases. They need him to hit for average. They don't need him to hit 330, whatever it was last year when he won the International League batting title. But they need him to, if he could hit close to 300 and steal bases the way he does and play a solid center field, I mean, you're looking at a very improved outfield if that happens.
Well, Bob, the Phillies management is trying to lead us to believe that they are not running it back when most fans think they are running it back. The infield is exactly the same. The outfield, as you said, a lot of that is dependent on Crawford. The pitching staff is probably not as good, especially with Zach Wheeler out for however long that's going to be. What do you make of where they stand right now, if this is what they went north with?
Well, and there's two other rookies here in play too. When I talked to Boa, the rookie, it wasn't Crawford that he mentioned, and it wasn't Andrew Painter. It was Aiden Miller, and he's the guy. He's got a lot of people excited. I haven't seen him play yet. I'll be honest, but Boa raved about him. Which, I found kind of interesting. So they are relying on some young players here. I mean, they do have an influx of young players. The other point Larry made, which wasn't a bad one, was they won 96 games last year. I think there was only 2 teams in all baseball that won more games than them. They had the second most wins in the National League. And I know they went out in the first round for the second straight year. But if you go back and look at it, I think they blew a 3-run lead in game 1 against the Dodgers last year, and not the first round. They went out in the second round technically because they had to bye. And if you look at the Mets game 2 years ago, they had a 3-run lead in that game in game 1. Playoff baseball is a crapshoot. And this is not a bad team. I covered the Eagles. And the Eagles didn't run it back because they let a lot of guys on defense go. And that's not why they didn't get back to the playoffs. It had more to do with their offense. But, but they lost some guys from that team, and they weren't the same team. They didn't have the same locker room without some of those guys they lost on defense. So, lost some of their edge, I think. So in the Phillies case, I have no problem with them, what they've done this offseason. I really don't. I mean, I think they're fine going forward. Yes, they're going to rely a lot on Zach Wheeler. I also liken it to a little bit the 1980 Phillies. The 1980 Phillies were kind of told, and I know we're going a long way back, we're kind of told, this is it, boys, now or never. and we're kind of in that situation for this 2026 team. Now or never. This is it. You've got guys that are going to be there. Yes, some of them, but I can see them moving on for some guys too. They just moved on from Castellanos. If they don't do it, but this is still a really good baseball team. I mean, it's not like this team snuck into the playoffs. They're probably a better baseball team now than they are when they, at least on paper, than when they went to the World Series in 2022.
You did mention in passing Andrew Painter, and the early reports are he's looking great down there throwing. The velocity is there. The command is there. Man, I hope he's healthy. Last year, he struggled, but he was still, relatively a short time coming off the Tommy John surgery. Now he's got another winter behind him. What do you expect from Painter, as he's probably going to be in the starting rotation?
I don't know what to expect, but I mean, I know when he's healthy, when he was coming up through the minors before he had the arm problem and the surgery, he was a dominant pitcher with electric stuff. And guys who have electric stuff it doesn't matter how old they are. If it's electric, it's going to play, and it's going to play in the big leagues. And if that's the case, then this is very much not the same team anymore, because it's going to be deep in pitching. And you know what? They kind of needed a guy on the right side to balance out the staff a little bit. It was a little bit heavy left last year with Luzardo and Ranger, and who am I missing here?
Sanchez,
yes. Thank you. Their best one. Good job. As you can tell, I don't cover baseball anymore. But I like having the 3 righties and 2 lefties, if that's the case. And it would certainly ease some of the pain of losing Ranger, because he was so good for this team for a number of years.
Well, Bob, fan chatter has started already with Garcia now looking like the 4-hole guy to move Kyle Schwarber back to the 1 spot. I was never in favor of that to begin with, but here's a guy with 56 home runs, 132 RBIs. Don't know if we can expect that from him again, but I'm not seeing him as a leadoff hitter. What say you?
Yeah, I'd rather see him hit down in the lineup at 3, Harper 2. I'd like to have Trey Turner at 1. He did win the batting title. He does have power. I'd love to see him 1. Maybe Schwarber 2. 3. Who are we going 3?
Harper.
Or no? Yes, Harper 3. I'd like to. I'm trying to think how we get it right, left. Who would we put in front of Harper? Harper probably like to hit 2.
I don't want to see Bohm up that high.
Well, you'd have to put Garcia at 3 and Harper or Schwarber at 4.
Garcia's got to prove himself to me first, but I'd like to see the left right thing to late games, not allow bullpens to come in and play that game. So, but we'll see. I haven't been down there to really, we'll see what they do coming out of it. It definitely sounds like it's going to be different, and he's going to do some different things with it. And it can always change. It's always going to change during the season at some point.
Going to be interesting. Let's switch our topics to the Eagles for a little bit here. Disappointing season, of course, and then a not so great offseason thus far either, especially with the departure of renowned O-line coach Jeff Stoutland. How much of a surprise was that, Stoutland leaving, and what might that mean for a line that had its trouble staying healthy this past year?
Yeah, I mean, both things are huge. Those offensive linemen, especially the veteran guys, and they're all pretty much veteran guys at this point. Love Stoutland. Loved being a guy. It obviously didn't work the way things were going. He was not happy with the direction that the offense was going. It's not really conducive to what he likes to teach. I'm going to be interested to see if he ends up somewhere after this year, because I'm thinking he's going to have a really hard time sitting out a year, and that he's going to find that he wants to get back in. as you mentioned at the top, Chet, that I have talked to some Giants people.
Yeah.
They were hoping that they could get him. They were very excited when they heard he was not going back to the Eagles. But the bigger issue is definitely the health of this offensive line. We've seen that the center having a
Cam
brain
Jurgens.
Cam Jurgens, thank you. It just went to Columbia for a body reset. Trying to get himself right. Landon Dickerson, was definitely not in a good headspace when that season ended. He's got to get his body right. Lane Johnson's obviously coming back from injury, but he will be. I'm almost positive he's going to be back. I'd be shocked if he wasn't back. Tyler Steen had a decent first year as a starter. Need him to get even better. Even Jordan Mailata, it didn't get written about much, but he was not 100% all year. He the last day, the locker cleanup day, baggy day as they call it. I looked at him. I said, you never really showed up on the injury report. I said, but I watched you walk through this locker room all season. And when was the last time you were healthy? And he just kind of laughed. He goes, I had some issues all year, so they need those. To me, that's more important than, especially offensively, not so much defensively, obviously, but offensively, more important than anything that happens this offseason is getting those guys healthy and right, and then adapt it to whatever this new offense is going to look like.
Well, that led me right to where I was going to go. The hiring of Sean Mannion from outside of the organization with a whole new offensive philosophy from the tree he came from. Did that surprise you? And what do you think we'll see? Do you think we'll still see some Nick Sirianni offense mixed in here, or do you think Mannion is going to have pretty much complete control of how this thing's going to go? They let him hire his own assistants, so
it sure sounds that way.
That.
It sure sounds like that we're going to see an entirely different offense. I mean, when Kellen Moore came in, it was sold as, well, it's going to be a fusion. I think was the word they used, a fusion of what Nick Sirianni did and what Kellen Moore liked to do. And in some ways it was, kind of by accident, it ended up being a run really heavy offense. And it worked great because Saquon was at the top of his game. And then when the playoffs came around, they were able to open it up even more. As we got later into the playoffs, we're a great defensive team. And so, it was sold as a fusion of those two offenses. This is not being sold that way. This is being Sean Mannion has control. They think he's a great young mind. So, it's going to be fascinating to see if that's the case. Kellen Moore, when he was in Dallas, was kind of sold that way, and he proved to be very good. Dallas had some great offensive teams. They could just never put it together on both sides of the ball, or at playoff time. So it's going to be fascinating. I can't even begin to guess how it's going to work. Obviously there are other issues. There's the AJ Brown issue. Is he going to still be here, or will they trade him? And you got Dallas Goedert as a free agent. So those two things are obviously big too, but I'll go back to the offensive line. If the Eagles can run the football, I think they can replace the other two guys. If they can run the football and protect Jalen Hurts, they can win. And I don't care, you do need talent at those other positions, and Saquon's going to be back. I'll be honest. I'm going to predict that I think AJ Brown is going to be back. And they're gonna run it back with him, and that's probably not going to make a lot of people happy because AJ had rubbed a lot of people the wrong way by the end of last season. But and I'm talking more about outside the building than inside the building, but it's some inside the building too. But I think he's already put out some things on social media that he's eager to see what this new offense looks like. So.
I agree with you. I think AJ will be back, and I'm hoping they can retain Dallas Goedert. I'd love to see him back for another season. Hey, we mentioned that you do cover the Giants a little bit too, working for NJ.com. They got a new head coach in John Harbaugh. Are we going to have to worry about the Giants actually being a good competitive team now?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, John Harbaugh knows how to coach. He went to the playoffs a lot of years in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Won a Super Bowl. Never got back to the Super Bowl. Which was, if there's a mark against him, he went in 2011, I believe it was, or 12 and won, and never was able to get back there. Andy Reid often the guy in his way, and he had trouble beating Buffalo and the Chiefs in the playoffs. But he knows how to coach, and there's talent. There's some talent there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they're going to be a classic old school NFC East football team that runs the ball and plays good defense. And they do have enough there. They need to get their offensive line straightened out a little bit, but they do not have enough talent there to be a problem going forward.
Hey, Ken, I don't know, or Bob, Ken put a question up here. I don't know if you could see it. He's asking, if they trade AJ, how does the dead cap money work? Do you know about that at this point?
Yeah, I don't, and I don't really want to say, because Howie always figures out a way to make all that work. That's why I don't. The number on over the cap is $72 million. That it'd be a $72 million cap hit. Now, I'm sure there are ways to get around part of that, but it is going to be a big cap hit no matter what. It becomes a lot less of one next year. But it definitely can. There are definitely ways, I know, that I don't know, but Howie knows, that can make it work for the Eagles if they did decide to go that route.
Bob, thank you. This is Bill. You have one more question?
Yeah, I had one more final question, Bob. The NFC East was pretty horrendous last year, probably as bad as it's ever been all the way across the board. What do you see? You see with John Harbaugh coming in, you see the Washington getting any better and Dallas getting any better, or is the East kind of in shambles for a little while?
I think the Giants are getting better. I think the Eagles are still going to be good. I mean, Eagles fans are kind of spoiled. I mean, they've been to the playoffs 5 straight years, and I think, 9 out of the last 10 or 8 out of the last 9, something like that. There are a lot of fans out there in the NFL who, with 2 Super Bowl wins and 3 Super Bowl trips in those 9 seasons.
Yeah. And so, Eagles fans want to fire Sirianni and trade Hurts.
Yes, the sky isn't falling. It might have lowered a little. The sky might have lowered a little bit, and it might be some clouds up there, but it has not fallen, and it is not falling. But the rest of the Giants, I think, are going to be better. The Cowboys have the potential to get better. They definitely have the potential to get better, especially because they're so good on offense, but they got to fix things on defense. Washington's a tough call. I mean, the quarterback gets hurt last year. That just pretty much ruined their season, but they loaded up on veterans last year on defense, and that did not work for them. So, I do like their coach. I think he's a good coach. I don't know if he's a great coach, but I think he fields solid teams. I think the division will be actually better and more competitive next season.
Hey, Bob, last thing real quick, getting back to the Phillies. They won 96 games last year. The over-under from Vegas this year is 90.5. What are you thinking, over or under 90.5?
I'm going over, and I know the Mets are, the Mets are going to be good, but the Mets have made some, there's some questions about, does it all come together for the Mets? Does it work right? And, obviously I think the Phillies would have been better if they were the team that got Bichette. But the Mets ended up getting them. They strengthened their rotation too. But I still think the Phillies are a little bit better than Mets, and I think they go over 90.5.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Bob, before we let you go, let people know where they can follow your work, whether social media, it's your newspaper, whatever you got going on.
Yep. The emails are Brookover I'm at nj.com. We've actually just removed NJ Advanced Media from the title of our company. So we are now nj.com. That's where you can find my work. And my Twitter handle is at Brookob, BROOKOB.
All right. Well, Bob, we appreciate you taking the time as always. It's fun. Let's do it again.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks,
all
Bob.
right. You too. Good stuff there for Brookie, Chet.
Always.
All right. Hey, Philly Pressbox Radio is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal Phil Stiefel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep, you can find Philly Pressbox Radio there, in addition to on our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network setting the trends for what sports talk should be. And Chet, speaking of that, Trending in the AM, you were a guest for Phil this morning. How did it go?
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, I had the pleasure of joining Phil we thought it was going to be 15 to 20 minutes. He ended up keeping me for 35 minutes, which was fine. I had nothing to do this morning, so what the heck? Yeah, 8:30 to 9:05 I was on there. We were talking Phillies. We were talking Eagles. We talked Robert Duvall versus Gene Hackman. Who was the better actor? I went with Hackman. I just saw more of his movies. A little beer talk thrown in. So, yeah, always a good time talking with Phil, checking out the comments from all his wonderful viewers. So that was a good time. And I know a few of his core viewers are actually watching our show tonight. So welcome, join us. Come visit us every Wednesday night. We just require 1 hour of your time a week. Phil wants you every day for 90 minutes. So, we're easy.
That's right. That's right. And, but I actually got to listen to you on there some, and I thought it was real good. And of course, Phil does a great job. So check his show out every weekday morning. It is good stuff.
Now, before we move on, I know you want to ask me about the Rover, but before we move on, I need to talk to our viewers for a minute, because I was looking at our YouTube channel analytics, and according to YouTube stats, about 3/4 of our viewers last month, 74% to be precise, were non-subscribers, which just shocked the hell out of me. So please, if you are watching our Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel right now, make sure to hit the like button that you'll see right there on the page. And absolutely also click on the subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost you a dime, and you'll definitely be happier for it. So you'll get an occasional reminder that we have a show coming up, that particular Wednesday, usually at 7:00. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate it. We've been stuck in the 770 area for like the last 3 weeks, and that's not good enough. So let's get us up to 800 before the end of February.
There you go. Hey, did you have any good topics with Phil that we need to chat about, or was it?
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about one of them, the Jalen Hurts hate thing. We will get to that in a bit. This new Reddit thing where they voted Jalen Hurts the most hated player in the NFL. Come on, that's crazy.
I think that vote was probably only done in Philly.
I don't know. We will discuss that. Put that on the agenda.
All right, sounds good. Well, hey, before we do that, it's the dog days of winter, but good times for the local pubs. What kind of winter activities are going on at the Irish Rover Station House? Yeah,
the Irish Rover. I love that place. You know that. Always a great time there over in Langhorne. Terrific food plus 24 beers on tap. Prime rib night Wednesdays, killer burger Thursdays, with Thursday night also bringing $9 wings and $5 giant Stella pours. Man, you can't go wrong with that. What else can I tell you about the Rover? Let's see. Live music most weekends. This Saturday, the tunes are courtesy Aaron Quarterman. All of that and more at this place. There it is. Oh, man, it's going to be so nice when it warms up a little more. We can hang out on the patio. The Irish Rover Station House, located on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Find them on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com. And who are we going to go with? Oh, it's Angelo.
Hi, this is Angelo Cataldi. You are watching Philly Pressbox Radio starring Bill and Chet. And let me tell you something. These guys know their sports. These guys are the successor to what we did at WIP for many years. So don't miss it.
I'm with you, Ange.
Good.
I'm with you, Ange, on this
Yeah.
one. Good. Hey, Chet, you and I'll say it. Freddie Burns and Bill Barnes are about the only three people that I know of that watch the NBA All-Star game. It's up to you to talk about it because no one else watched it. And you can make up all the numbers you want.
Okay,
Count
you're
your
crazy,
people.
first of all.
I'll tell you what. Anybody that's making comments or able to make comments here, tell us if you watch the All-Star weekend. But I will ask you this more importantly. How did Tyrese Maxey play?
First of all, you're too much. As I said at the top, back on NBC for the first time in more than 2 decades, it drew 8.8 million viewers, the most in 15 years. People seem to like the new round-robin format that they used this year. 2 different U.S. squads, one called Stars, one called Stripes, plus international stars that they deemed the world team. Makes sense. As for Maxey, well, he and his teammates ultimately won the event, and he did play pretty decent, scoring 15 points in 24 minutes across these 3 mini games that he played in. But it was the T-Wolves' Anthony Edwards who took home MVP honors for the day. He scored 32 points in 26 minutes. So he and his Stars teammates crushed the other U.S. team, the Stripes, 47-21 in the championship game. Yeah, Maxey played well. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I did not sit there and watch the whole game intently. I was flipping around. I was doing some other stuff, but I did enjoy the new format. And the players did seem to put more effort into things this year than in past years. Even played some defense, Bill, in an all-star game, if you can believe that.
Get out.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
Yeah, Wemby blocked a few shots. It was great. So let's not forget also that Friday night, the Sixers' VJ Edgecombe scored 23 points across 2 games and earned the Rising Stars MVP trophy for the night as he helped lead Team Vince Carter to the championship on the night. So yeah, all in all, a fun weekend for the Sixers guards who will get back into regular NBA action Thursday night when the Hawks come to Philly to start the final third of the season. In case you've forgotten, the Sixers are still in 6th place in the NBA's Eastern Conference. Do I have the standings? Yeah, I do. There you go. The Sixers are number 6. They are 30-24 as we speak. 54 games down, 28 to go. The Hawks tomorrow evening. Then the Sixers. Oh, also at this game tomorrow night, the Sixers will celebrate Julius Erving's 76th birthday. His birthday is actually Sunday, but they have 2 road games, Saturday and Sunday. They are celebrating it Thursday. So happy birthday to Dr. J, turning 76. They play Saturday night in New Orleans, Sunday night in Minnesota. Now, the bad news, Bill.
I'm going to hit you with it. I was just waiting for you to stop talking.
Joel Embiid out tomorrow.
He's had a rough week. He's had a rough week.
Off.
He can't play on Thursday.
He was getting right knee management, and now he's got a sore right shin.
I'll tell you what, it's been a rough week sitting around the house for Joel. He can't
make
go
this
on.
Stuff up, Bill.
He can't go on Thursday.
I can't defend it. I can't defend this one.
I was just waiting for you to finish up so I can hit you with Joel is not going to play on Thursday night. He is injured again.
I don't get it, Bill. I can't defend it. It's tough.
Hey,
do we have any comments up there?
I did want to throw
Tom Kelly checking in. Wow, Tom Kelly. I haven't heard from Tom Kelly in ages. TK.
Hey, I did want to throw this out. I didn't watch this either, but you know what looked like it was kind of cool? The WNBA had their little whatever thing they're doing with this other league deal, whatever. They had a one-on-one tournament that they played, they had a whole round robin deal. And in their case, the winner got $200,000.
Wow.
Which in that league is, a lot of money. They played it out, one-on-one matches all the way through until they came up with a winner. How cool would that be if the superstars of the NBA would play that game?
Do you remember back in the early 70s, they actually did that? They had
Yeah.
those one-on-one things. I think ABC televised it on like Wide World of Sports or Sunday afternoons or something. Yeah, I forgot all about that. That would be cool to see that again, Bill.
Yeah, well, what I read was some of the comments was the superstars would never do it because they wouldn't want to lose, and they don't need don't need the money, right? I mean, if it was $1 million, it's still they don't need the money, so that they wouldn't want to lose too much ego going on there. But in the girls' game, $200,000 was a huge paycheck, and that was kind of fun from what I read about it.
Hey, Bill, the fact that Dr. J has a birthday coming up this weekend provides a perfect segue into Chet segment. One that I promise you will enjoy far more than last week's My Favorite Movies of 2025 random Chet piece. I know that's a low bar, but
it is very low.
All right. Well, here we go. Pay attention. You'll like this one, and you're going to like what I recommend. So here we go.
Hey, watch it now.
When I was a kid, though a big fan of the 1967 NBA champion Philadelphia 76ers, I also became fascinated for a time with the new kids of the pro basketball world, the American Basketball Association. One big reason, they use this super cool red, white, and blue ball. And yes, of course, I owned one. The league lasted longer than most upstart leagues typically do, 9 seasons, and introduced us to a lot of terrific players who would later have major success in the more established NBA. More on that in a bit. The point of all this is to tell you that Prime Video recently premiered a 4-part series about the rise of the ABA called Soul Power, the Legend of the American Basketball Association. And it is terrific, with executive producers including the legendary coach George Karl, ABA legend and future Sixers world champion Julius Erving, and Grammy-winning rapper and actor Common, who also serves as narrator. The series, directed by Keenan Kamwana-Hawley, details the upstart league's early years all the way through the 1976 merger with the NBA. Along the way, we meet many of the ABA's early stars, including Mel Daniels, Matt Calvin, Louis Dampier, and the great Connie Hawkins, the new league's first superstar who had been prohibited from playing college ball and NBA ball amid allegations he was involved in a game-fixing scandal. The Hawk was the ABA's first MVP and led those Pittsburgh Pipers to the league's first championship in the spring of 1968. There are new interviews in the series with the great Rick Barry, who left the NBA's Warriors to play for the new league's Oakland Oaks and later the New York Nets, the great Spencer Haywood, as well as with the legendary Hubie Brown, whose pro coaching career actually began with him guiding the Kentucky Colonels to the 1974-75 ABA title, helped by a pretty impressive big three of Dampier, Artis Gilmore, and Dan Issel. Those guys, who all get plenty of face time in the series, are all still around and still friends a half century later. Of course, there's a lengthy segment on Julius Erving, Dr. J, who left the University of Massachusetts and then starred with the Virginia Squires and later the Nets in becoming the face of the ABA. He led the Nets to the league's 1974 title. Lots of great game action video of the doctor, too. Now, you might forget how many Basketball Hall of Famers spent time in the ABA. I think the number was around 20. In addition to Erving, Barry, Hawkins, Haywood, Dampier, Gilmore, and Issel, how about Mel Daniels, Bobby Jones, George McGinnis, George Gervin, Billy Cunningham, Zelmo Beatty, Charlie Scott, and, of course, Moses Malone. And both Hubie Brown and Larry Brown are in the Hall as coaches. Of course, the ABA, in addition to the iconic red, white, and blue ball, also gave us the three-point shot, which the NBA finally adopted in 1979 and is now maybe too big a part of pro basketball. The drafting of college underclassmen before the NBA gave in and did so. And yes, it gave birth to the slam dunk contest.
And that fits everyone, really. Julius Erving.
Each topic is covered thoroughly in the series. Oh, you know who else got started in the ABA? The legendary Bob Costas. Fresh out of Syracuse University in 1974, Costas was hired as the play-by-play voice of the ABA's Spirits of St. Louis. There's lots of other cool tidbits in the 4-part series, like how the ABA very nearly landed Lou Alcindor, how Wilt Chamberlain ended up as a coach in the league, and other stuff we geezers may have forgotten. I really, really enjoyed this 4-part series. Again, it's on Amazon's Prime Video, and it's called Soul Power, the Legend of the American Basketball Association. Check it out.
I want to check it out. Sounds like it's
it
is it really good?
Yeah.
As good as you were hoping it would be?
Yeah, I was really, really impressed, really happy with it. Brought tears to my eyes at the end. You'll see when you actually watch it. But what's really great is all of these old guys have remained friends. They said they had this camaraderie, they had this bond, and like the Indiana Pacers from back in the early 70s still get together today, the guys who are still around. Julius Erving talked about how he and Darnell Hillman, used to compare afros, and Hillman gave Dr. J tips on how to make his afro look better. It was so great. I get a lot of old video of the league. The old Kentucky Colonels owner, Miss Ellie Brown, she's interviewed a lot in it. So really, really good stuff. They almost did have Lou Alcindor coming to the ABA. George Mikan had this offer out there. He was the commissioner, but he ended up screwing it up at the last minute. So Alcindor said, no, heck, I'm going to go to the NBA, and the Bucks took him. The rest is history. We forget about Wilt coaching the San Diego Conquistadors for a season. Yeah. That didn't go well. But yeah, I really highly recommend it. It's less than 4 hours in total, and it flies by. Really, really a fun watch.
All right. Hey, Ken asks if Jelly Bean Bryant played in that ABA. I don't believe he did.
I don't think so. No.
I think he came right out and went to the Sixers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to check it out. It's definitely on my list. And, hey, speaking of those cool ABA balls, I'm going to backtrack a minute. We talked about Carl Henderson, Carl's Cards last week, and they are keeping the store up and running with John. John is running that for them. And they have signed ABA balls from that Dr. J signing at the store. So you can get that if you go to carlscards.com or give them a call and place an order, and John will send that out to you.
And I didn't read it yet, but the Philadelphia Inquirer apparently did a new story today about Carl's Cards and the fact that they are keeping it open. I just saw that about 2 hours before showtime. It said it was published today, like 7 hours ago. So yeah, check out the Inquirer.com for a new story about Carl's Cards and, the aftermath of Carl's unfortunate passing and what the plans are. So I can't wait to read that. Now, speaking of the ABA and the Sixers for that matter, Bill, we got the news on Tuesday that Doug Moe had passed away at the age of 87. Moe played college ball at North Carolina with his teammate and roommate, Larry Brown. Yeah, so they were actually teammates again then with the Carolina Cougars of the ABA. Moe won an ABA title as a player with the Oakland Oaks in '69. Rick Barry, a teammate, although he was injured, Barry was for the postseason. Moe, a 3-time All-Star in the ABA and later a longtime NBA coach. He had lots of success coaching the Denver Nuggets in the late 1980s. But no success with the Sixers in his one season, 1992-93. In fact, he was god-awful. The Sixers signed him to a 5-year contract. He lasted less than 2/3 of a season. They went 19-37 in his 56 games, cut him loose before it got any worse. Of course, it didn't help that the summer that he was hired, the Sixers also traded away Charles Barkley. So, yeah, that didn't help. It was a rough time of it in Philly for Doug Moe, but still, rest in peace, Doug Moe.
Hey, one final basketball thing, Chet. We have to go back, and TK says that I seem almost happy that Embiid is out.
You do.
I'm not happy, Tom. It's just such a joke. It's such a joke with this guy. I don't know how much more you can put up with him. If anybody can defend him, even Chet can't defend him anymore. So I'm not happy about it. I'm just sick and tired of it. It's a joke. So I'll leave it at that. But
I do think he really wants to play. I just think he's just, I don't know.
He's just Joel Embiid. That's what he is.
I think these are legitimate injuries. How serious is a shin injury? I don't know. But
when you've been sitting around for a week.
Yeah. How do you hurt it while getting knee management? How do you hurt your shin while getting training on your knee? I don't know.
All right, let's move on because Chet, it's baseball season. Phillies baseball getting cranked up. And what could be better than doing some tailgating with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Nothing better, Bill. Nothing. Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up a terrific catering business for some 35 years now. Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates, Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cav also does corporate events, parties, you name it. But they're best known for tailgates before Philly sporting events. And while there won't be any Eagles parties until September, there will be Phillies tailgates before the home opener on March 26th. Boy, that is fast approaching. And another then before a Phillies Guardians game in May, and a tailgate before the Morgan Wallen concert on August 1st. Get details on those and other events at Cavs' website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Yes, it is. Hey, Chet, Olympic hockey, man, what a day it was for the men in the quarterfinal rounds. The United States finally wins in overtime. Canada finally wins in overtime. They're now in semifinal round, headed to the semifinal round. And the women, the Americans and the Canadians will play Friday afternoon for the gold medal.
I did watch the final period and a half and the overtime of today's USA-Sweden game. Yeah, congrats to the U.S. for advancing to the semifinal. That'll be Friday against Slovakia. As for the women, yeah, not only are they undefeated, they've given up one goal, which was in the very first game, and have outscored their opponents 31-1. That is just incredible. The gold medal game Thursday, actually, tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern time, the women Team USA versus Team Canada, and then the men play the semifinal game on Friday. So, yeah, I'll be watching the women.
So I was
tomorrow.
right the first time when I said Thursday. Then I changed it to Friday. It's actually Thursday.
It is Thursday, the women's gold medal game. And congrats to Michaela Schifrin winning gold today, skiing. She won like 8 years ago, and now she wins again. So congrats to her. I'm still not watching curling, Bill. I as I told Phil this morning, don't understand it. Never have, never will. I just don't get the curling.
I think it's been on for like a month. It feels like every time you put on the TV, curling's back on. Like, how many teams are in this, and what is it that they're doing? Actually,
I don't know what that. It's crazy stuff.
You could be a sweeper.
Yeah, a sweeper.
And then they were going to have a fight. They were almost a fight over pushing the.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I did hear about it. And I do enjoy Snoop Dogg. I got to say, I'm a fan of Snoop Dogg. He amazes me.
That surprises me a lot. All right. Hey, we had a great guest tonight, Bob Brookover. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Well, I'm glad you asked about that, Bill. Next week, we will talk hoops and more with one of our favorite guests. She has covered the 76ers for 28 or 29 years now. You know who I'm talking about. Longtime Sixers reporter, current 97.5 The Fanatic radio host, Dee Lynam. Always good to have Dee on the show. And by the way, Dee this week is somewhere away having a good old time. I'm sure there's golf involved, knowing Dee, because Friday happens to be Dee's birthday. So happy birthday, Dee, and we will see you right here next week live with us.
All right. Hey, Chet, let's circle back to this Jalen Hurts situation. Go ahead and lay it out. Let's talk about it.
Apparently, it was a Reddit thing. I'm not a Reddit user. Occasionally, I'll look something up on Google, and it will send me to Reddit. But, it was a Reddit poll, and the fans, football fans, the crazies on Reddit determined that Jalen Hurts is the most hated player in the NFL. Now, there are some theories that it might be just the fact that he's kind of blasé, he's boring, he gives, cliche answers in interviews. He speaks, kind of monotone. He's just not as exciting as, the Josh Allens and others in the NFL. Some people theorize that it may be because he gets so many of his touchdowns via the tush push, which most teams aren't really, or most fans aren't really fans of outside of Philadelphia. So I don't know what it is, but Jalen Hurts, number 1. Number 7 on the list, Deshaun Watson, who was getting, the massages and whatnot. He's only number 7 on the most hated list. Jalen Hurts, number 1. I don't get it. I'm not.
Who was number 2, by the way?
Number 2 was Jake Moody of Washington. I don't even know who Jake Moody is. Number 3, Luther Burden of Chicago. Number 4, Cole Strange of Miami. Who are these people? Now, number 5, Daniel Jones of Indianapolis. So there you go. That's all I got right there, Bill. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yeah, I got no answers for that. I mean, Eagles fans don't like Jalen Hurts. Giants fans don't like Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Jalen Hurts has certainly never done anything to not be liked for. He certainly hasn't said anything bad, right?
Reddit sucks. Yeah. No, he's been a model citizen. He's never had any controversies or scandals. So it's kind of goofy. I mean, take it for what it's worth. It's just silly.
It's worth nothing. Hey, I did want to comment too on this Bryce Harper thing. I think we got a lot to do about nothing here again. It's made into a big story. Harper owned he didn't have a good season. He owned it, and he didn't really criticize ownership. He just said he was surprised that it came out in public. I don't blame him for that. Especially I guess they have a company rule that we're going to keep things in-house, and then you come out as the general manager and you go out of the house. And he said he was surprised at that.
Look, I like Dave Dombrowski. I really do, but I think sometimes he's a little too honest. And Dombrowski was answering a question about this year's Phillies, and he got to the Harper thing and just kind of said the whole, he didn't have an elite year and, wondered if he would get back to that level. He was just being honest. I don't think he was doing it intentionally to try to motivate Bryce Harper. Maybe it will end up being that he does. Harper says he doesn't need the extra motivation, but, it's got to be gnawing at him. I mean, it's like 4 or 5 months since it actually was said back in October. So it's clearly still on Bryce Harper's mind. But Bryce, come on, you're 33. Get over it. Go out there, play ball, show us that you are still elite. And we will all forget about this, and hopefully we won't be talking about this a week or 2 weeks from now.
Well, we're going to all forget about it really quick because it's pretty much a meaningless thing.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the Phillies. Dombrowski should be worried about what 9 or 10 he's going to put out on the field more than he's worried about whether Bryce Harper is going to be productive.
Yeah. I agree. And, I said a couple weeks ago, I wasn't really feeling the excitement about the Phillies. I'm starting to get a little bit of it back now that I'm hearing that Painter is looking so good. And, I see that Adolis Garcia is
he's throwing bullpens, right?
What's that?
He's throwing bullpens. He's throwing bullpens.
Yeah, I know. He's not facing live hitters. I know, but he's healthy apparently. And he's got the velocity and the command. So that's the important thing. I'm not going to, pencil them in for a trip to the World Series because I'm hearing good stuff in mid-February. I'm not doing that, but I'm starting to get a little excitement about it. And they're on TV this weekend. They're going to have all the home games on some TV somewhere, either, one of the Philly channels or MLB.com. So we'll get to see a lot of the games over the next month. I'll be down there in early March. I'll be at the March 7th game that Saturday. So, I'm starting to get a little bit of the buzz back.
Yeah. Well, as Bob said in his conversation with Larry Boa, his article, the team did win 96 games. So It's not like we can expect them to win 76 games, right? I think they're probably not going to be as good as they were last year, but that doesn't mean that they're going to stink the place up either. They have good players. The disappointment of the early playoff outs are what I think has most people questioning where they're going to go. Not that they don't have good players.
Exactly. And speaking of getting the buzz back, Bill, I want to mention it's National Wine Day. So happy National Wine Day. I'm drinking a Vin Beato from Torriano Winery in Italy. Picked up a bottle of that while we were in Italy 3 or 4 years ago, and I just cracked it open before the show tonight. Very good.
Happy iced tea day to me. Very good. Let's wrap it up. What do you think?
Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Let's thank tonight's special guest, Bob Brookover. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, February 25th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans.
High hopes.